So we've been needing to make this video for a long time, and I'm gonna not promise that I'm not gonna cry, because I am, and I'm already crying, because this is the most real we could be with the internet, with our friends and the people we care about. I've decided that I'm gonna be brave and share my very personal journey of the last 6 to 8 years of what I've been going through. And this is going to be brief, not all the details today, because we have a lot to share, but I wanted to get it out there and start sharing.
I know you shared on Facebook recently about some major needs that we had and that you hoped you'd be able to talk about it soon. So you want to kind of say what's been going on the last 3 weeks?
Yeah, so for the past 3 weeks, I haven't been able to eat. I've only been able to drink liquids, mostly like bone broth and such. I can't swallow any foods. And before that, for about 4 to 6 weeks, I could only eat like baby food. Everything had to be blended to a baby food consistency. So anyway, I've been seeing specialists, and there's a lot going on. There's a lot of unknowns, and I've lost about 18 pounds in the past, 4 or 5 weeks?
Yeah,
4 or
just
5.
over a month.
Yeah, and I didn't need to lose much. All that to say, that is an immediate thing that we have going on, and that we are seeking a lot of doctors, a lot of specialists we are in and out of daily. I don't have energy. I'm completely worn out from that aspect, but we have so many more things you're not aware of going on.
Why don't you talk a little bit about kind of what's been going on in your body the last 7 to 8 years? You want me to talk about it a little bit?
Get it out. So I've wanted to share this for a long time, and I've rehearsed it even in my head. How would I do it? I wanted it to just be not like this. I didn't really know how it was going to come out, but about 6 to 8 years ago, 8 years ago, I started having some just bizarre, crazy things happening in my health. And we went to doctors, and I was doing some things for those things. And then my body 6 years ago just completely crashed. I couldn't get off the couch. I couldn't walk across the floor. Keith was carrying me to the bathroom, and I just thought, well, I'm gonna go to the doctor or the ER, and they're gonna admit me, and something is terribly wrong with me. It was the scariest thing in my entire life at that point. And they ran all kinds of tests, and they're like, we don't see anything wrong with you. I'm not going to go into all the details, but I have been to more specialists and more doctors than I can count. It took us 4 years, right? 4 years?
Yeah, I mean, obviously in that time you had severe weakness, you couldn't get out of the bed, joint pain, memory issues, you had to use a wheelchair. There were times I had to carry you to the bathtub, give you a bath.
You had to feed me. You were
basically
everything.
Months on end, you'd basically
I couldn't even
get to the kitchen to get food I'd already made.
Carry me to the car to get to doctor's appointments. We were scared to death, and we were doing everything possible, yet we weren't getting clear direction. We were told you have the worst adrenal fatigue we've ever seen, or you have the worst you have really bad a thyroid condition. So we were given hope that was all it was, and just I had the most extreme case to where basically you're bedridden and you need to follow all these protocols and you'll get better. And 2 years later, I was worse, wasn't better, and I could almost barely speak or talk because I was that sick at that time. And we stopped everything, and I laid in bed for how many months?
I don't know.
It's so hard.
A long time, which basically
months
took
and
us
months.
to 2 years ago.
And researched until I felt that I had answers for what I thought I was dealing with. God directed me clearly to a specialist in New York City. I'm sure many of you saw a couple years ago I posted and said something about New York City, and I would be sharing my journey. Well, we went to a specialist in New York City, and we came home, and that was one of the longest weeks of my life. I wanted answers, but yet I was scared for the answer. But I knew what it was because I had already done the research. And we got a call in September 2 years ago, and the specialist said, you have Lyme disease. You have a lot of co-infections. I'll go into that another time, but co-infections are just as severe as Lyme disease, if not worse, depending on which ones you have, and I have a lot of them. And he said, you have mold illness and a host of other things that he went down the list that I have. And
I know his treatment protocol he suggested would have taken us to New York City once a week.
Yes.
Or 16 weeks.
So we were looking into flying to New York City once a week and going through the crazy treatment process that could be anywhere from, how long?
It was 12 to 16 weeks.
Yeah, or it could have been longer. It just depended on how I was responding, and there wasn't any sure answers well, you do this and you'll be better. And I'll go into all that another time on here, but it's individual for each person, and every treatment doesn't work for each person, and there's a lot of different methods, and it's more about putting you into remission, but more on that another time.
So we basically just decided to test because we kind of determined that if it was mold issues.
Did I say that? Mention that?
Yeah, that we needed to address those before we did the other, and that's when we had the mold dog come in.
Yeah, so the doctor said, and through my research I learned that if you have mold present anywhere in your home and you have Lyme disease, that you cannot heal. The first step is you have to get out of your environment or get your environment remediated. So we went through the whole process of remediation. We moved out of our house. I got the diagnosis, and within weeks we were going through our entire home down to the tiniest little things you could imagine, and sorting everything, throwing a lot of things away, putting things in storage that had to be cleaned very specifically, and then living in an empty apartment for 3 months.
2 months.
2 months, without any of our things, while our home, the apartment, was being remediated. Now some people might be like, well, why would you remediate and why don't you just move? This illness, and just being raw, has taken all our savings and everything away from us that we have ever worked for, because we have insurance, but most doctors and all the things that you need, they're all out of pocket because they're specialists.
Yeah, we've spent over $40,000 out of pocket the last 6 years or so. So it's been a struggle.
And that's really keeping it low. I mean,
and with the mold issues, we thought it had been addressed like it needed to be, and we could move on and do some other things. So we had saved up some money to talk to another expert, and we felt like her recommendations were probably too much for your body for where it was at the time.
Because with Lyme disease, you have to find the treatment plan that you hope will work for you. But with me, my Lyme disease, so to back up a little bit and not go too far into it, my doctors believe that I have had Lyme disease since I was a little girl. And now it makes sense, all the things that I've gone through with my health. Like, if you know me well, you know when I was 16, I spent a year in bed after a wisdom teeth surgery. Just those were clues we didn't know to look for. But anyway, what happened is being exposed to mold crashed my body and brought everything to the surface. As well as we had been out of the country, and those type things can cause things.
Yeah, and so it's not just like active mold. Mold produces mycotoxins. It's like the byproduct of mold, and those mycotoxins are toxic to the body. And if you have a weakened immune system, then you respond differently than someone that wouldn't have as weakened of immune system. So, you know, back when those things started, we discovered that we'd had another leak in our apartment. This was underneath our guest tub. And so, you know, this led us to the doctor we went and saw yesterday. And he, you know, basically said you can't heal in the environment that you're in.
Well, we had it confirmed. We have a mold detection dog who's the same, you know, dogs who sniff out drugs or sniff out bombs or whatever. This dog is highly trained to find mold, and he's the one that has been here many times through our journey. So now we know that we have to leave here, and we have to leave everything behind. You don't have to understand the journey, or you might have a lot of questions, and trust us, if we hadn't been walking through this all these years and know the ins and outs of everything, we would question someone. We didn't understand their journey or what they were going through, or like, why would you have to do that? But it's very crucial that you don't take anything with you to your next environment. I need to be in an area that is very, very clean, not just clean, but environmentally safe. So no known allergies, and definitely no mold, and not living anywhere that's brand new, because I can't handle the chemicals, because I have chemical sensitivity from Lyme disease, and mold illness has brought about many other illnesses on top of it.
Well, we basically need your help with tracking down some lodging. We have to move out, and so if you know of someone that might have a mother-in-law suite or some place where we can, we'd have to get it tested, but somewhere where we can just use some time to get things prepared so we can have a little bit longer term solution. Obviously, with the issues we have going on, we need to be able to leave as soon as we can. And, you know, multiple people have told us recently that until we do that, we're not going to get to where healing can take place. We have appointments lined up here in the next week to hopefully deal with some of what possibly might be issues with the swallowing. But there's just I mean, there's a lot. Leah talked about some of the things we might need. Hard part for me is with my schedule, working for the General Assembly. The fact that it's legislative session, there's just so much that's on my plate with that. And it's hard, and we just, we need prayers that we can find immediate solutions to the issues that are currently going on. That's not even touching the longer term issues we have to work through. But obviously we can't continue without her being able to get food down and swallow. So we need your prayers for that. We need your prayers for guidance and wisdom and provision, and for lodging, and as we move forward. It's been an exhausting 6+ years to have to work through all of it. To see your wife suffer and not be able to be the person that she, been, the outgoing person that's full of life. She has a wonderful attitude, the way she goes about life, and being as positive as she can be, but it's a grind to go through it. And when you go through that kind of thing for 6+ years, your support system just dwindles and dwindles, because honestly it's hard for us to stay in the lives of other people, for them to be with us as well. And when family's far away, that makes your support system shrink as well. So we're grateful for you listening and watching, and we thank you for everything that your prayers and all that. So thank you so much.